if I were to write about myself currently, I think I'd take myself way too seriously, whereas I can make fun of teenage Chloe because she was a hot mess. So
Congratulations on your EP and just like the success that you've had since you've started making music. It's been such a trajectory, it seems. But I know that nothing happens overnight. So maybe do you want to walk through the process of how you got here?
of course, yeah, thank you so much. It's been it's been a time. It's been an experience. I'd say I've been kind of like developing my songwriting skills behind the scenes for the last like 4 or 5 years. I got into writing like pop music properly like in the last year of my bachelor's degree. So in my early 20s, and I've just been sort of, yeah, writing and writing and trying to find music that feels really authentic to me, and music that not only represents me well, but once I started releasing, I'd be, proud to release. And it just took a lot longer than most people. And it only really started clicking when I met my current sort of producer collaborator. And we started writing the songs that you hear now. And when we had enough of a collection of songs, we were like, oh yeah, this feels amazing. And that's when we started to sort of pull the plug and do it this year, which has been incredible. And I definitely am happy that it took as long as it did for me.
I think whatever time you spent incubating was totally worth it because even though it's just a few songs, you have like a myriad of emotions through it. Like there it starts a little bit, romantic and then kind of sassy and then melancholy, and you just go through these myriad of emotions. And since we are humans and multifaceted, is the way that the songs are laid out, is that kind of the journey that you went through as you were writing, or was it just put there once all the songs were put together, you're like, oh, this is a good journey to take people through?
That's a really great question. I rather unromantically, it was probably more the latter. You end up just like writing so many songs that when it comes time to pick the EP, you're kind of like, well, actually, with this EP, there's definitely more of an intentional, um, like directness to want to bring listeners through more of a journey, in my opinion. Like as you said, we kind of touch upon all sorts of emotions that you feel when you're growing up, and then also into your adulthood, whether that's like family issues and relationships, or like you said, like being a bit more spunky and sassy and finding your worth and your confidence, but then also moments of insecurity, of like romantic insecurity. And um, but I would say, other than VCR Home Video, which is about family, the rest of the songs, weirdly, I never really write from like really specific instances or like moments in my life. I kind of draw a myriad of different memories and I usually draw a lot from like teenage years, because that's generally the time where you're the most messy and you're dealing with so many different like hormones and emotions. And um I love writing from like retrospect as well, because I think it allows me to sort of poke fun at myself, whereas if I were to write about myself currently, I think I'd take myself way too seriously, whereas I can make fun of teenage Chloe because she was a hot mess. So
I mean, you say that, but maybe in 10 years you'll be look back and be like,
this is true.
everything's a journey. Everything's a journey. I did hear in another interview that you did about how, I Lied, I'm Sorry is about your teenage years. And would you say that, I mean, granted that you said that, a lot of what you write about, especially in this EP, comes from your teenage years. Is there anything, you also said that when you were writing, it's kind of like a diary, process for you. If I'm not wrong, I think that's what you said during the interview. And
Yeah,
do you think
for
that,
sure.
like, is it harder to write about what you're going through right now, or is it easier for you to write in retrospect?
Both those statements are true. It's easier to write in retrospect. And I almost almost never am able to write about what I'm currently going through. It's very interesting. I know some artists are incredible at it, and that's exactly what they do. Like almost they sort of, yeah, every sort of feeling and emotion that they go through in the present, they will be able to book a session and write about it with their people. But for me, I don't know what it is. I think it's something that's still so like raw about the emotions, and I'm also secretly, but not secretly, quite a perfectionist. So I think if I can't articulate the feeling well enough or authentically enough, it just doesn't feel like it's worth writing about until I have some perspective on it. So yeah, both of those things are definitely true.
And you're playing like a really cool amount of shows in the UK come 2025. How do you feel about that? Have you played in the UK before, or is this kind of like the first time you're doing something at on this level?
So haven't So we did two no one show two shows in the UK so far. One of which was my own show, which was really lovely. And yeah, this is like the first time we've sort of done this. I've done this ever. Um, I say we because I have a band, but they have done this multiple times. They are absolute vets. I, however, am not. But you know what? It's felt really great. It's felt very natural. I don't know whether it's because, again, I had been like incubating for so long, but live was the thing that really scared me. It was like the one thing I was like, oh gosh, that is going to be really, really terrifying when I do that. But weirdly, m- I had this really naive perception that I was just gonna like hop onto stage and then wing it. But the process is broken down to you really, really palatably. Like you go through weeks of rehearsals and it's fine. Like, by the time you get to doing the show, it's actually like, oh, we've done this like 30 times. You're just doing it one more time. And I managed to have a lot of fun with it. And it's actually not nerve-wracking at all. And I just can't wait to continue that. I think 2025 will be like the year of live for me, hopefully. There'll just be a lot more shows and it'll just keep getting better and better, which is super fun.
Are you going to come back to Asia and play a couple of shows? We would love to have you here.
That is the absolute hope. Most of my family is still in Malaysia, so I would love to sort of stop off, visit them, and then do like a whole tour at some point. But that does obviously come with like time and obviously growth. So I hope really soon. I hope sooner than we all think.
And are there any plans for you besides the UK, like in terms of releases and stuff? I know this just came out literally like 11 days ago, but are there, since you've been writing so much, can we expect more?
Yeah, no, that's actually like a really valid question because we we do, in short. We have a lot more music and new music is actually coming a lot sooner than I think everyone thinks, which is super exciting. And yeah, there's just too many bangers that need to be released. So they will be released in the coming year, which is very, very exciting.
Okay, amazing. And is there anything you want to say to, I know that as you're starting out, or I mean, you're doing so well for starting
Oh,
out,
thank you.
for someone that's like, been doing this for a while, and now that you're finally releasing things, you're finding the success. In Singapore, I think there's a stigma where um artists want to have this overnight success. Oh, I write a song, I'm going to release it, like it's going to blow up and stuff. And you, of all people, would know that that is most certainly not the case. And for people that are trying to figure that out, or young artists that are trying to figure it out, like in their teens now, would there be any words of encouragement that you have for them? Because I think the time that you have taken to incubate is really clearly shown because the music is really good. So, that's congratulations on that. But yeah, any words of encouragement for them?
Thank you. That's such a lovely question. Totally. I think I mean, firstly, to relate with them, the feeling kind of never really goes away, annoyingly. For one, hand on heart, when I was, 18, 19, 20, even though I didn't even know it was like an actual route that I could take, I always, had hoped throughout the whole process that it would be super quick and all that kind of stuff. But what I will say is, everything, well, this is a bit of a controversial take, but I do think everything happens for a reason, and I think you're meant to take the path that you're meant to take at the times that they present themselves to you, if they ever do. And I think it's, especially the route in the UK, which I sort of fell into, it's like 50% effort but also 50% luck. And I know that's annoying to say, but I think that's sort of why I always had this sort of feeling that if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, because there were times where I even tried to come away from music because it was so frustrating and there's no clear path. And I just thought, you know what, actually, it's so much easier to just drop out and get like a desk job because I was that frustrated. But there was always something or other that kept pulling me back in without my even wanting to. um, so yeah, I would just keep saying, like, if it's if you're passionate about it, it should be effortless. And there's definitely like a level of you have to keep working at it for sure. But I would say, like, make sure that your relationship with your art is like healthy and you like preserve that, because the last thing you want is to keep doing it and then fall out of love with it and then have it not in your life anymore, which is really sad. But yeah, sorry, that was a really long-winded way of answering your question. But
No,
um
not at all. That was beautiful.
yeah, I just say, for me, it took as long as it did because I wanted to do it right. Like, you only debut once, in my opinion, and I wanted to make sure I had everything that I needed to feel ready, and that's what happened. But I know for other artists, they don't really care about that. So
Everyone's different, but I think, like, whatever path you're on right now, the music is amazing. Please don't stop, and congratulations on all your success so far. And I can't wait to, like, hopefully interview you in person at some point.
1000%. Yeah, I can't wait to meet in person. Yeah, I mean, I honestly, every time I do go back to Malaysia, which is not particularly often enough, I we will always transit in Singapore, so we should definitely meet
Yes,
the next time I'm back.
for sure. I mean, for food, but also please come on the show too.
1000%.
Snowball, you want to say hi? My dog is on my lap. Say
Oh
hi.
my gosh, Dean, that's like the best thing ever. An interview dog. I love that.
Or she gets too riled up if she's on the floor. But okay, have an amazing rest of your day, and thank you again so much. I'll start,
Thank
I
you.
like follow you for all your adventures, and all the best with the shows in the UK.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for this morning. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, amazing. Thank you too. Bye.
Bye.
Kiss 92, all the great songs in one place.